Hi guys, welcome back to Freeze Drying Mama, and I am so excited for today's video. It's kind of snowy outside and I've been collecting things as we've been putting them through the freeze dryer. And I actually did a really fun experiment. So what I did is I've been putting things in bags so that I could use them later, or put them in mason jars to use them later. So obviously this wouldn't be for long-term storage because I didn't put O2 packages in here. What I would do though is things that I use it for, which we're going to talk about today, but it worked great. So for instance, I have my hash browns that I've been showing videos of how I reconstitute them, and these have been in this jar for 2 months, and there's no O2 absorber in them, as you can see, but I'm going to hold it up so you can hear it, and you can hear it kind of crunchy and stuff in there. It hasn't gotten soggy, which is surprising, and I wouldn't recommend it for every geographical area. Up here it seems to be pretty dry in the winter, even with our dumping of snow, but it's still fairly dry. So I'm actually really encouraged by that I can actually keep things around a little bit longer than just, you know, a couple days and then I have to put an O2 absorber in them. So what we're going to talk about today are some great, awesome things, but first I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the process of reconstitution and what that means. When it goes through lyophilization and the process, or the item, I guess I should say, the item that gets freeze dried, the more carbs that it has or the more oil that it has a really hard time letting go of those H2O molecules. And here's why. So inside of a carb, you have the carbohydrates, right? You have the carbons, and you have the oxygen links, and you have the hydrogen links. And they don't want to let go of the H2O as much because that completes their molecular structure. Same thing with fats. They have phospholipids in there, and those guys do not want to let go of each other. That's why when you use soap is actually really cool because it has like this, it looks like a fish. So when you actually look at it from a molecular level, so one end actually matches phospholipids. That's why soap, and the other end doesn't. It will hold on to water better. So one end attaches to the fats and then it rinses it away. That's why soaps act like that with fats. But when you put something with a lot of fats in it, it doesn't matter what kind of fat, but with a lot of fats, that's why it's really hard for us to get that moisture out because it's attached to the phospholipids, and the phospholipids do not want to let go of any moisture. They don't want to go out. They want to hang out with their buddies. I like to refer to them as like the Fat Alberts, right? Do you remember that? Fat Albert and his buddies? Okay, so think of that. So something that has high fat content or high sugar content, they don't want to let go of their buddy, the H2O. That's why it's going to be harder. So for instance, that's why it's going to be harder when you reconstitute it as well. So let's say you do get something like cheese, and you're able to freeze dry the cheese, which turns out amazing. I mean, I love the taste of it, I love the texture of it, but it's not always the best thing when it's reconstituted. And the reason why is because it has fats in there, and fats don't want to lob onto H2O. They don't. It's just a fact of life. It is what it is. So you have to figure out a different way to access that. So this is what you do. First, what I'm going to do is I saved some refried beans that my husband put in the trays for me, which is awesome. If you've seen my posts and stuff, you know that refried beans are great for tacos. I'm going to add in some boiled water and make me a reconstituted, can you see this, Taylor? And make me a reconstituted refried bean mixture. You can see it kind of grabbing on there. Now, refried beans uses a lot of water when you reconstitute it. I would probably go with a really easy 1-to-1. If you have a cup of refried beans, use a cup of water because it will use it. I got a piece of lettuce that got in there because I got salad out. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, so let's say we're just going to use that much. And because I'm going to be using freeze-dried cheese with this burrito, I'm going a little bit wetter on my refried beans. Okay, so I'm going to put those on there. That's much wetter than I would actually prefer for refried beans, but we're going to be okay with that. All right, so then what I'm going to do, you can see that. I swear I buy these little guys just so I can do these videos. Maybe I do the videos just so I can do those little guys. Okay, so then we'll put the cheese on here, all right, and it will slowly absorb it. However, the texture is not bad, so it wouldn't be something bad to eat. It would actually be really good like this. But we'll let this kind of sit and see if how fast it does. But because the refried beans have a teeny bit of fat in them and the carbohydrates, I'm hoping that the fats in the cheese will let the cheese absorb. Now, I didn't want to waste cheese, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this cheese right here, and we're going to add some hot water to it. So you can see what freeze-dried cheese does when it acts with water. It kind of takes on this loose structure. See that? It's still hard. Can you hear me hitting it? That's not me hitting the glass. Cheese doesn't sound like that. But we'll give it just a minute to see what it will do. All right, so I'm gonna set this one aside and just kind of let it do its thing. Okay, so we've done those, and we know those, and we know what to do with those. And I've already shown you a video of how to reconstitute raspberries. There's great ways that you can do it, turn it into jam and jelly. I've got a video on that. This is just to show you how I will use freeze-dried raspberries in my everyday life. So there's no power outage, there's no end of the world situation, I'm not camping, it's just simply to do it with my life. Because we did Kalamata olives, and they turned out amazing, and yet they also sucked. Here's why they sucked. This is not what I would consider freeze-dried very well. It's very gummy feeling, it's kind of sticky feeling, even though it has a powdery look to it. The olive itself has a lot of fats in it. Those phospholipids are rearing their head. But I have to tell you, I think I'm gonna try one. The texture is not good, but the flavor is awesome. I don't know if you've had Kalamata olives. They have a more sour flavor, almost like a green olive than the black olives, but there's also a smoothness to it that you don't find in the green olive. These are my favorite. They're really, really salty. So unfortunately, they don't last forever because the olives, I'm afraid, after 71 hours in my freeze dryer, while they came up with it, here I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how they break apart. And they kind of turn into a powder if you want, so you could use them as like a sprinkler or something. For me personally, I'm not comfortable because of the way they feel. You can see that shiny. They have a really oily, I'm just not comfortable putting that into my long-term food storage. I'm just not. So, and I used the Kalamata that were in a vinegar rinse, hoping that it would help it as well with the oils, but it didn't. So what we're gonna do is we're going to reconstitute this one with some water, just so we can see how they would reconstitute. And then, ooh, and that's hot. And then I'm gonna show you how I would use these and how I've been using these, because I don't wanna waste them. They really do have a good flavor. But like I said, see, you can see how it's water. The water is not really going onto that skin, but it's going into this part. Oh, here we go, now it's starting to press. So it's trying to reconstitute. Okay, I'll try one. I'll try it kind of reconstituted. I didn't like it. I didn't like the texture dry. Okay. I think it would be fine if it didn't taste like I was biting into a sponge. That was weird. The flavor's fine, but the texture isn't good. And it's not even, just look at that. It won't reconstitute the way that it won't return to itself, unfortunately. And that's because of the high oil content. I'm not even gonna put that in my mouth again. I'm gonna wash my hands. Ooh. Yeah, my hands are all greasy. This is gross. Okay. So, but that doesn't mean that I've lost all hope for the olives. Because one of my favorite ways to eat freeze-dried things is to put them on a salad. Nothing in here was freeze-dried. However, the cheese has been freeze-dried, and I can sprinkle that on. I really, really like freeze-dried raspberries on my salad. Put that on there, and it always makes it just a little splash of color. And then I kind of want to make sure my hands are fully dry before I put the olives on, because I don't want to risk any moisture getting on these things. But these are, I had these on a salad yesterday at my grandmother's house, and I took them over there to try them, and yeah, wow. They just add a little bit more body to the dish. My daughter's back there going, "Don't do it, Mom, don't do it." She didn't like them. I loved them. But I also love Kalamata olives. I love like that Greek salad flavor. So then we also have the Italian dressing. My daughter and I are both keto, and this is a really good flavorful keto dressing that we have. And we just, you can just drizzle it on. And again, it's a fat, but because it's a fat, it's not gonna reconstitute those other dishes. So there you go. You have a salad that has a bunch of fun different stuff that isn't bread. I think that's the most important thing. There's no bread on that salad. And my daughter and I are keto. We're very not carb friendly. Remember, it's on my hips, not past my lips. So we try to stay away from the carby stuff like bread, croutons, you know, those types of things. Breadsticks. I mean, I could sit here and talk about all the different ways I love to eat bread. It's not good for us. So this is actually a great way for us to add some crunch, some extra flavor without adding too many of those carby calories. So that's what I would do. Let's go back and check on these cheese things. I'm gonna poke these a little bit. Now the ones that, so look, they kind of melted into the water a little bit. I don't love that texture. Here, this one's still hard, but this one right here feels like it might be similar to the cheese. I'm gonna try it. Nope, pass, pass. So the cheese will not reconstitute into the way that we want it to. I'm betting the only way that it would is if you really, really slowly steam it, and I will try that in a different video and see if that will work. But for me, I'm totally fine with it sprinkling on, being hard, or crushing it into a powder and heating it slowly and adding like water to it or whatever to make that macaroni and cheese style, because that's phenomenal. And I always use sharp cheese, sharp cheddar cheese. I do like medium sometimes, but the sharp just packs a lot of flavor in it. My daughter and I are also doing no dairy, and I've had that's like the first 2 pieces of cheese I've had in weeks. Okay, enough about that. So the cheese here still hasn't just like the cheese in that one hasn't reconstituted, and that's okay because it's still going to have good flavor, and that's the most important thing. Now if I put this in the microwave, the cheese will reconstitute a little bit more and have more of a melty feel, but now I've got a burrito that I can't eat. It's full of carbs. Where's my son when I need him? He'll eat it for me. Okay, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the little bell thingy to make sure that you don't miss any more of our messages. And I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Oh, I can't eat this one either, there's cheese on it. I'm gonna give it to my husband, he loved it too. Thanks you guys so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and welcome to the Freeze Drying family.